Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Luigi here, and I am of course back for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Luigi's Mansion for the Nintendo GameCube / Nintendo 3DS for its remake. But, as usual, we're going to be playing through the GameCube version most likely because of the superior controls. So, last time, we essentially did manage to take care of the rest of the stuff during the forms of Area 2, and also we did somehow manage able to capture some more portrait ghosts, and as usual we did somehow found not only certain speedy spirits, but also with golden mice, and especially noticeable with the forms of how the fact that we did manage able to capture some more boos. To be more specifically, we've only captured for about 4 of them currently, so as a result, hopefully we're able to obtain more in the future. So because of that though, yeah, it seems to be more specifically is about the fact that we're pretty much almost at the halfway point in terms of collecting certain amount of boos before we're able to actually continue our progressioning. So, in addition to that, we also did manage able to take on the Area 2 boss, which appears to be Bogmare. So, despite the fact that I've only got hit once, but that's okay, because we still got the gold frame regardless. So, yeah, today for this video is about the fact that we're about to get started with the next area, which appears to be Area 3. So, it seems to be more specifically, in terms of story progression, we are actually now onto the halfway point of the game. So, yeah, it wasn't too surprising, concerning for the fact that this game is going to be pretty short when it comes to the forms of the game's length. Although, as usual, that about the fact that we're able to guaranteed able to, you know what I'm saying, capture some more ghosts and all that. And here we go, on to, I would say, let's just say we're now onto the courtyard. So that seems very pleasant. So but even then, hopefully we're able to figure this out. So just to ensure, so just in case we can able to actually take care of some more usual ghosts, and especially noticeable for the fact that, well, honestly guys, about the fact that I do apologize for my commentary because it's a little bit slightly awkward at this point today. Well, because of how the fact that recently Sonic has already mentioned about this ever since in yesterday's, oh wow, we got yet another emerald, so that seems pretty cool. So anyways though, he did mention about the fact that we actually got ourselves some more stuff, thanks to our birthday, did somehow already exist since in yesterday. So because of this though, yeah, we're very happy about the forms of the item selection that we've got. So just to ensure for the fact that, well, originally though, we were expecting to able to pre-order not only WarioWare Move It, but also with Super Mario RPG Remake on the Switch during the forms of this week. However though, it's going to be delayed at some point by the end of October. So because of that though, the reason why is because we're pretty much going to be waiting for not only Sonic Superstars to be released, but also with the forms of, you know, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Speaking of which though, is apart from the fact that I believe we've only just got about exponentially, we've only got 5 more days to go until Sonic Superstars is about to be releasing, and on top of that, only 8 more days to go until the Super Mario Bros. Wonder is about to be releasing on the Switch. So, yeah, that should be exciting when it comes to both of those games that are about to be releasing during the forms of the week coming up. So, yeah, that should be exciting. So, either way, before we continue, on the other hand, we need to go down to the bottom of the well, because I think we actually hear that echo voice down from the well. So, let's investigate. Whoa, it looks like we finally found Mario, and as it turns out, he's got trapped inside the painting. So, yeah, it seems that we can't go through that particular line head at the moment, so we need to figure out another way we can able to get to it. So, And right off the bat, we did somehow manage to take down one of those ghosts, so just in case, then we can able to obtain the actual key, which not only lit up the actual portion of bottom of the well, but also, as you can see, we actually come across into Secret Altar. So, but then again, we can't get there just yet, because obviously is that we need to figure out another way in order to able to get to this point. But also, something tells me we need to collect a certain amount of booze in order to able to progress. And I believe, depending on what version of the game you're playing, likely also for the sake of the forms of, I would say on the normal mansion playthrough, they have to get about 40 booze. And as far as I'm aware, on the hidden mansion, specifically, the PAL version of the game, does need to require even more booze to capture. So, yeah, spoiler alert for those of you not realizing about the fact that we're still on Area 3 after all, but something tells me is that we need to get a certain amount of booze in order to able to continue progression for, let's just say, take on the next boss in Journey forms of this entire game. To be more specifically, Area 3 boss. So, but even then though, we'll try to figure something else once we're able to try to take care of these little pesky ghosts first. So, yeah. And that's the perfect example of why that I did somehow manage able to explain about the fact that we are getting pretty close to its release, not only for the sake of the forms of Sonic Superstars, but also with the forms of the Super Mario Bros. Wonder as well, because recently, today's date, of course, there is the 12th of October today, in some cases in 2023 today. There are quite a lot of stuff I would like to mention. First of all, happy 10th anniversary of the game's release of not only Pokemon X, but also Pokemon Y for the Nintendo 3DS. Jeez, I can't even believe it's been 10 years ago since that those two games combined came out at exactly the same time. So as a result, yeah, happy 10th anniversary of Pokemon Generation 6, basically. Especially concerning for the fact that despite I didn't actually pick up the game back in the day, because I think, if I remember correctly, that it's been 10 years ago since I've not only received Super Mario Galaxy 2, but also with the forms of Mario and Luigi Dream Team Brothers for the 3DS, as well as the very first capture card we've ever got, and in addition to that with Wreck-It Ralph DVD, and I think there's also another gift that I sort of forgot to mention. Oh yes, the very first My Little Pony Friendship is Magic DVD release in the UK department. So, but again, better late than never I suppose when it comes to able to releasing that specific stuff. So, anyway, so if we check in here, and obviously there's the next Speedy Spirit. So once we suck him up, we're able to get ourselves a glorious rupee. So at least it's not a fake or anything, unlike what in Flushed Away, where basically that Roddy did somehow smash the fake rupee from the likes of whenever, you know what I'm talking about, if you ever seen Flushed Away before. So anyways, let's get onto this little treadmill to get ourselves our glorious key, because that's important, because that pretty much leads us back all the way to Area 2 for the sake of the shortcut. So just to ensure for the fact that it's always important you must do this, because otherwise if you don't, then obviously you have to go a long trek ahead. So at least as far as I'm usually concerned with that stuff. So, and also I do remember back in the day, in Journey forms have been 10 years ago, that we somehow managed able to obtain ourselves Pokemon the Movie 15, which is by the forms of Kyurem and versus the Swords of Justice, I think is what it says anyway. Mind you, it's been a very long while since I actually have last watched certain Pokemon movies throughout, especially because, well, honestly, I just basically just somehow managed able to watch a lot of things. Like, for instance, I believe tomorrow is going to be the next episode of Loki Season 2, so I was expecting for the fact that I want to know what really happened to Loki himself. But then again, I'm probably not going to go into any spoiler moments for this point, because I'm pretty sure that, well, everyone else seems to be pretty excited for that. So, anyways, let's get rid of the water element right now, so just in case I don't want to able to mess up with the forms of that particular things itself, although we were expecting that we were able to water some more plants until for later. So, because I'm pretty sure we've already taken care of the forms of not only certain Speedy Spirits, but also with gold mice for now. Although, straight to the point, I'm pretty certain there's going to be yet another gold mice somewhere on the room above. But we'll save that for later, because we're about to take care of the forms of the next optional ghost. To be more specifically, the optional portrait ghost. And this what appears to be body forms of this muscly ghost right there. Although, before I get into more details about this guy right here, obviously I just want to classify for something about this as well. Happy 5th anniversary of the game's release of Luigi's Mansion 1 for the Nintendo 3DS as a remake, speaking of which. So as a result of the fact, no matter what though, while looking back on it though, I still find this to be kind of like a mediocre at best remake as far as I'm usually concerned with that stuff. Even though that, again, the controls might be felt a bit too much of a cumbersome, and on top of all that stuff though, one thing I did not expect, that there's also the boss rush mode, which is actually introduced on the 3DS version. So because of that, I'll get into more details about the forms of what the difference is between the 3DS version and the GameCube version of this game. Presumably speaking though, let me know in the comments down below for that particular points worth noting for. Do you guys want me to tackle through the second playthrough of the forms of Luigi's Mansion 1? Because something tells me is that once you beat the game once, that you get yourselves the second playthrough called the Hidden Mansion mode, where basically that is about the fact that you go through the exactly same rooms before, or exactly the same rooms again. Although, the noticeable differences between the forms of not only for the NTSC version, it doesn't matter if it's on the Japanese version or the North American version, compared to the PAL version of the game. Basically, in the PAL version, does have a lot of differences between the regular Mansion playthrough than the likes of how it does it on the Hidden Mansion mode. Like, for instance, the game itself is going to be completely flipped, and on top of that, there's going to be some more tougher ghosts to take care of, and in addition to that though, certain area bosses do have some slight differences here and there. So, but then again, we'll probably talk more details about that once we're able to get into that particular point. So, because I'm sure enough though, it's about the fact that for those of you who ever experienced the, not only the Japanese version, but also the North American version as well, you go for the exactly the same mansion as before, except you're able to actually deal with a lot more damage for the sake of the forms of, well, then again, though, I should save that particular topic until for later, so, but anywho, though, so as you can tell, we did somehow already taken care of the forms of the first, portrait ghost, and as I said before, it's a completely optional boss, so as a result, his name was Biff Alice, so, or Atlas, so, and he's a little bit more muscly, and he's basically the bodybuilder. So that's as far as I can able to actually describe this guy. So either way, so now it's going to move on to the next room right here, which pretty much leads us to the tea room. So I'm pretty sure the tea room is going to get pretty tricky sometimes, especially because now we need to rely on these particular ghosts, as you can see. So we definitely need to able to avoid those as much as we can, because as soon as I can able to actually make them just disappear for a bit, and there was actually a cheese right over there. So yeah, we did somehow scan it, but we have to be quick though, because obviously if you miss that gold mouse, then obviously there is no way you can able to actually try to scan the cheese again. So anyway, while doing so, we got ourselves a glorious ruby, so that should be all pretty swell. And oh boy, this place is going to be pretty tricky in the dark, because not only because we have to deal with those little ghosts, as you can tell, but also those godforsaken place to somehow just try to able to kill me. But regardless of such though, it's about for the fact that we can pretty much take care of this room no problem, I guess. So, oh nice. Oh, that was it. Huh, just only 2 ghosts. Huh. But luckily though, we were able to actually come across into the white treasure chest this time. I think something tells me we might able to come across into the third and probably the final element that we can able to utilize. And we can probably deal with some freezing ice. Or to be more specifically, just utilize the ice element. So yeah, you probably get the idea. You're just essentially trying to able to freeze something. So that'll be pretty recommendable though, especially if you come across into certain elemental ghosts. Like for instance, if there was a, let's just say, a water-based element enemy, I believe you can able to utilize the ice elements that you can able to freeze the water enemy, so that's as far as I can say about it. You know, think of like the rock, paper, scissors system, basically, so, Anyways though, so speaking of which... Oh, okay. I did not notice there was actually a boo ball right there, so I wasn't expecting that. So... Anyways though, so let's just go ahead and double check on here, and, well, sure enough, we come across into yet another boo, and strangely enough, he does have 50 HP so far, or 50 health so far, so there we go. We got 17 boos so far, so naturally we're getting pretty good progression so far, so, anyways though, so let's go ahead and continue, and now we're going to be ended up in the next floor, to be more specifically with the actual hallways that we can able to go into, so, anyways, so let's just go ahead and, oh, gosh darn it. Anyway, we'll just try to able to just get rid of them for the sake of time. I believe there's also another gold mouse around here somewhere, but much like the phones of how it does it on Area 2, sometimes it can be felt a bit luck-based if you do manage to able to bump into one, because usually, relatively speaking though, again, the best strategy for this is that just keep on going back and forth between multiple rooms, and sure enough, you can able to actually bump into the gold mouse straight away. So, even though sometimes it can be a very long time to able to get to this process, but even then though, because, you know, sometimes it might take a bit while. But anywho though, something's worth noting for the sake of the forms of what's going on in the actual article news at this point. Basically, is that, somehow, for the fact no matter what though, is that we're about to be getting a new Netflix, short movie, as far as I'm concerned, or specifically, the next DreamWorks holiday special, and that's what appears to be by the forms of this time around, is actually going to be focused around the bad guys crew. So as a result, there's going to be the bad guys, the very bad holiday. So as a result, it's going to be releasing by the end of November on Netflix. So as a result, yeah, that's actually pretty something else entirely. Although, something's worth noting for it is that much like the forms of how it does it on My Little Pony Make Your Mark series, is that the original voice cast is probably not going to return. So because of that though, yeah, it seems kind of unfortunate. So because of that though, yeah, I'm curious to check it out. Although I don't know if I can able to actually see it in day one, personally. Because obviously I'm still waiting for Chicken Run Dawn of the Nuggets is about to be releasing. So beneath and then though, yeah, that's something I suppose. So, anyways, the next thing I want to address something is that, well, it's suffice to say, is that you guys even remember back in Journey Forms of about a few weeks ago that we obviously mentioned about something briefly about the forms of the PlayStation 5 Slim, that it was expecting to be rumored. Well, as it turns out, the PlayStation 5 Slim became true. Not only for its disk drive version, but it's also for the fact that we can pretty much guarantee that there's also going to be a digital edition as well. So, yeah, that seems pretty awesome to me. Even though that, unfortunately though, I don't think it's a guarantee for me to able to actually get the PlayStation 5 at some form or another. Oh, and by the way, something's worth noting for, it's important that you need to able to flower or water this little flower right there, because, well, usually relatively speaking though, this is the second time we've watered this particular plant right there, but we will come across into this thing for the third and final time. Well, just to ensure for the fact that you get yourselves a grand prize if you do this, so... Anyway, back into what I was saying about the forms of the PlayStation 5 Slim, that it finally became true. So, as a result, I think it's expecting to be releasing at some point in November this year. So as a result for the fact that, I'm not exactly sure when exactly, because I know for a fact that unlike the original model of the PlayStation 5, that also came out in November, but in a different year, despite the fact that it does manage to take place in a pandemic year, as you probably already know, despite the fact that that PS5 is already out of stock, back in the day that is. I mean, that's insane if you ask me, so, but anywho though, so, again, I don't think it's possible for me to able to actually get myself the PlayStation 5 anytime soon, specifically the slimmer version, just because I was waiting for not only the Kingdom Hearts 4 to be releasing on the PlayStation 5, that will be a guarantee, but as a result, I'm thinking I might also have to wait until when the price drops or something, so... Anyways though, so let's go and use this water element to get rid of this particular fire element ghost here. And, well, suffice to say, we've pretty much done it. And from here, we were able to actually get ourselves some more cash alongside with the gold bar. So relatively speaking, it's about the fact that something tells me this room feels very identical to the ones in Area 2, except now Toad is no longer there. In addition to that, well, it's just a ghost this time. So, anyways though, before we move on to the next room, we need to go ahead and find the next gold mouse, and sure enough, there he is. And sure enough, we'll get ourselves yet another sapphire. So that's actually pretty super top notch and everything. So, anywho though, yeah, as a result of that matter what though, is that, oh yeah, speaking of which though, is about the fact that we've recently discovered that there is actually yet another character that just recently came out to be, for not only for the likes of in Sonic Dash, but also with Sonic Forces Speed Battle. First off, when it comes to Sonic Dash, currently though, me, including Sonic as well, are both working on trying to able to actually unlock the next character in Sonic Dash, and this time what appears to be the main antagonist of Sonic 06, which appears to be Mephiles the Dark. So, yeah, it seems pretty crazy to able to realize that we finally managed to able to get a chance to able to get Mephiles the Dark in Sonic Dash, even though despite the fact that we're currently on the halfway point when it comes to collecting that particular character cards, even though still it's a bit tedious process when it comes to obtaining those specific character cards, because still, I really miss the actual old days when it comes to, like, you know what I'm saying, with the token events and stuff like that, but still, it's kind of not the end of the world personally, but it's just I found it's a little bit irritating whenever you do manage to able to realize that, well, you know what I'm saying. So, anyways though, yeah, let's just go ahead and move on to the next room now, because after all, we're able to, well, obviously we've already saved the game already, just in case for the sake of the forms of one of those speedy spirits we're able to try to find and all that stuff. So here we go, back into the bathroom again, except now, something tells me there's gonna be a portrait ghost in here this time. So, oh wow, I just literally got splashed by this particular portrait ghost, and her name was Mrs. Petunia. And basically all you have to do is basically you have to use the ice element in order to able to make her chilly cold, and then once you've done so, it's your chance to able to suck her up. So, you're relatively an easy portrait ghost, assuming of course for the fact that eventually at some point that I don't think it's a possibility for me to able to get the gold frames for the majority of certain portrait ghosts, because as you can tell from Biff Atlas optional ghost, that basically I didn't get my chance to get the gold frame because I didn't get the bigger pearl, but that's okay because obviously these things are just for bragging rights, I suppose. So anyways, let's warp us back all the way to the beginning, because once we've obtained that key, basically this pretty much leads us to the next room, all the way back onto the forms of, well, Area 2. Except, well, I think this is also going to bring us into a yet another optional ghost. So, and something tells me also is that since that we've already got ourselves Mario's letter for the actual courtyard, by simply trying to find it if you're trying to able to interact with this particular birdhouse. So, yeah, it's actually pretty simple whenever you're trying to find it. So, anyways, let's go and open this little doorknob. And this pretty much leads us to, let's just say, the billiards room. So, but there's a catch to this though, is that if we check in this chair, there's another speedy spirit. And from here, we're able to actually get ourselves, oh, of course, another sapphire. So, how many we got so far when it comes to sapphires? We've only got about 8 of them right now? Jeez, that's insane. Especially because, you know, we're doing pretty well when it comes to finding, speedy spirits and gold mice so far, because I remember back in 2016 or 2018 that for the life of me I can never find any of those specific gold mice around here somewhere, most notably because they are kind of feels a bit randomized every time whenever you do manage to able to come across into one. So anyways, so here we go onto this theater room right here, and we come across into those invincible ghost-like guys. So even though, yeah, eventually at some point is that certain rooms can get pretty difficult later on, which is very understandable because we're now on the 3rd area after all. So Anyways, though, yeah, let's talk about the forms of the yet another characters being added for the sake of the forms of Sonic Forces Speed Battle, and to go alongside with the actual celebration of the release of Sonic Superstars, potentially speaking, is that Super Classic Sonic is going to be playable in Sonic Forces Speed Battle. So, yeah, as a result, we're going to wait for a little while on Sonic Dash at this point, because obviously we are currently still in the process of trying to able to unlock Mephiles the Dark in Sonic Dash. But even that, it's nice to able to notice about for the fact that we're now able to come across into not only one, not two, but three different counterparts of Super Sonic as playable characters during the forms of not only well, maybe eventually Sonic Dash, but also with Sonic Forces Speed Battle as well. So yeah, that's insane. But anyway, so let's just go ahead and deal with this last ghost, potentially. Oh wait, there's actually more. I bet there's gonna be more, isn't it? Let's just see. Oh, that is the last one. Okay, fair enough. So anyways, let's open this red chest right here to reveal yet another Mario's item, and this time what appears to be Mario's glove. So it seems that we've only got 2 items left, so hopefully we're able to actually guarantee that we're able to obtain the last 2 items. I don't think it's possible we're able to obtain them in this video, but definitely in the next video for sure. And like I said before, it's about the fact that the uploading schedule is about to be changed slightly until next week, mainly because of the fact that I believe Sonic needs to able to deserve a rest for a little while, for the likes of Sonic Frontiers, the last of the Final Horizon DLC at the moment. Well, usually after Friday though, because obviously once he's done with the forms of that particular uploading schedule, he definitely deserves a break, even though that, because of this though, is that obviously Sonic Superstars is just around the corner. So yeah, we're still pretty excited about the forms of playing Sonic Superstars in our own time for a bit. Once we do manage to able to play that game quite a lot, doesn't matter what version we're going to be playing on, that's obviously that we're definitely going to do that Let's Play at some point next year, so anyways though, so let's just go ahead and oh, and by the way, in order to be able to deal with this part right here, is that you need to hit those, oh, okay, direct hit right there. Anyways though, in order to be able to actually hit this particular portrait ghost right here, and his name was Slim Bankshot, which is basically he's the lonely pool shark. So yeah, I will be able to actually get into more descriptions on those other ghosts until for later. So either way though, let's just go ahead and deal with this last number ball until we're able to stun him. And then once we're able to do this, then obviously we should able to get a chance to able to suck him up. So much to the point that we can able to do this. Even though, again, he's entirely optional, so it doesn't really matter if you're able to take him on. Even though the rewards you do get is just... No! Ah, dang it. I didn't get my chance to get that gold frame. Ah, seriously. That poison mushroom just really get on my nerves. But yeah, that's what happens right there. If you dare touch the poison mushroom, not only you be shrink in size, but also you lose money. So, and also, whenever you try to fight against with those portrait ghosts, then obviously if you dare touch one of the poison mushroom, then you're gonna miss your gold frame chance. So, there goes my another gold frame. So that's 2 so far. So. But then again, I was trying, but it's just about the fact that sometimes the poison mushroom spawns is just all over the place for certain situations, you know? But anyway, not only do we get some more cash, but also another diamond. That's actually pretty swell. So, oh yeah, in terms of the forms of classic Supersonic, when it comes to the forms of the item selection he's got, during the course of Sonic Forces Speed Battle game, is that he did got himself not only the Motor Bug, but also the Super Form and Tornado, and that's basically all there is to it. So, think of like, you know, the classic era when it comes to certain familiar stuff as far as I'm concerned. So, despite the fact that I haven't exactly touched upon Sonic Forces Speed Battle, because I just simply give up on that game, because, again, it's just about the fact that it might be a little bit too chaotic for my liking, so... Anyways though, there's also another thing I found is a little bit fascinating with this, is that, relatively speaking though, I did somehow manage able to saw Tails Tube, for the sake of default, is one of those mini-series of Tails Tube. That is basically, it's like a Sonic parody for YouTube or something like that. And what I found was a little bit interesting is that he obviously did mention not only Mighty, but also Ray as well. So yeah, that's actually pretty swell. So, and also same applies with the forms of Fang the Hunter. So as a result, yeah, it's pretty cool. They obviously mentioned about the forms of those guys in the past. So, I don't know, maybe we might able to actually hear some more info about the forms of Sonic Superstars or something like that. That again, though, is very difficult to tell. But anyways, though, here's another Speedy Spirit right here. If you investigate with that particular armchair, then you should able to actually get that yet another Speedy Spirit. So, that should be pretty swell. Anyways, though, oh, and something tells me is that I think the only reason why that Sonic and Tails and Amy and Knuckles in Journey forms of the latest episode of Tails Tube, basically, it's that I'm thinking the reason why they've mentioned both Mighty and Ray is that because both Mighty and Ray have been first appeared in Sega's Sonic the Hedgehog arcade machine, and as a result, they'll be expected to become 30 years old during this year, alongside with the forms of Amy Rose as well, during the forms of the release of Sonic CD. So, yeah, that's actually pretty swell. So anyways, though, in order able to deal with this next portrait ghost, as you can tell, is that there's a lot of ball of yarn, or to be more specifically, a ball of strings, as you can tell. Now, as you can see, despite I did somehow failed on this part, but basically, if you manage to able to interact with this mini tape ball, all these ball of strings, basically though, they decide to roll around, and it's your chance able to actually aim those balls right at the next portrait ghost, which appears to be Nana. So, yeah, you have to do this exactly 3 times, because if you messed up one shot, you have to start all over again with this process. So, you know, think of like, what if we did the exactly same technique as we did for the sake of the forms of Slim Bank Shot, except the fact that what makes this a little bit tricky, though, to me, though, is that you need to be very accurate with these specific shots, and again, if you mess up one shot, then you have to redo the entire process again. So, even though it's not as tedious as I thought it was, so anyway, so let's just go ahead and try this again. Oh, jeez, that was close. Alright, so let's just go ahead and deliver this last one in. And eventually, sometimes she shoots out some lasers every once in a while, so you definitely... Oh, how the heck did I go a massive amount of damage? Oh, wait a second, maybe because I didn't exactly go into the opposite direction. Oh, come on! Ah, that's the second time I've got screwed over by this godforsaken poison mushroom. Ah, I hate that sometimes. Anyway, I suppose there goes another gold frame, so even though I have tried, but it's just poison mushrooms has just always been super abundant. Oh well, beggars sales can be juices, I guess. But anyways, we got another key, which pretty much leads us to all the way back to Area 1, except we're going to be investigating for, potentially speaking, the last room in Area 1 location, so that's sure something. But yeah, before we continue, I need to find another boo around here, so assuming of course that sometimes, if you waited for long enough, sometimes the boo decides able to move into someplace elsewhere. But either way, eventually at some point, for certain boos, now actually has more health. So as a result, he's now got 100 health. So, and sometimes if you come across into one of those boos in the dark, the defense is actually really high. And on top of that, they move a lot faster. So because of that though, I suppose the light is the best method when it comes to dealing with those boos. So that might be something worth noting for. So... anyways, I get the horrible feeling is that one of those boos in particular is going to be located back in Area 1. So, at least as far as I was thinking about this anyway, so... anyway though, I suppose the final thing I want to address on something is that recently, Nintendo Switch system, as far as this is concerned, is actually now onto version 17.0.0 for its system update. Well, don't get your hopes up, because obviously it's nothing once again. So, yeah, nothing different from the likes of the past version updates at this point. I mean, sure, it does manage to address on some stuff, but I can't possibly think about the top of my head. All it shows is just basically, it's just, well, certain improvements on certain little things, but that's about it basically. So, still no themes or anything else like that, which most people complain about the forms of the theme, or the lack of themes, for its home menu, because as a result, I wonder why that a lot of gamers out there do really miss the old days, like specifically the 3DS themes on Nintendo 3DS that you can able to customize your very own home menu. But next you notice is about the fact that, and also you get yourselves a pretty cool music in the background. So relatively speaking though, I can see why a lot of gamers out there seem to really miss the actual home menu themes from time to time. So I can see why it seems to be the case. So anyway, so we've now got 20 boos so far, so naturally we've captured for about 5 boos so far, so that's something, I guess. So, and I think we're almost there to the halfway point in terms of obtaining certain boos for, well, for this particular game so far. So, yeah, it's actually getting some pretty good progressioning right there. So, yeah, I need to go ahead and grab my hearts quickly to back to 100, so just in case I don't want to get ourselves a game over. So, although if you get a game over, you go back all the way to the actual title screen, or it just kicks you back to the title screen, so that's all there is to really think about it. Although, unlike in Luigi's Mansion 2 and Luigi's Mansion 3, that basically though is that I think there's actually the option you can able to continue your progressioning there, if I'm mistaken for the sake of time. But even then though, yeah, let me just go ahead and check on the forms of these biographies for certain portrait ghosts, even though I was expecting to be able to go for all of them, but I'll go for some of them. Although, if you do manage to be able to scan in the actual heart for certain portrait ghosts, like for instance we've already captured for about quite a few of them, like for instance with the forms of Biff Atlas, he did say in the actual heart quote, he did mentions like, well, let's just say, oh yeah, he did mention that, look at this buffness, I'm huge, how do you like to be my punching bag, weakling? Okay, that seems a little bit more intimidating at first glance. And also, when it comes to the forms of any other portrait ghosts, like Slim Bank Shots, that he does have the actual hard quote saying that you want some of this? Oh, is that it? I almost assumed that he'll mention something more, but obviously he only mentions a little brief line. And if you manage to scan in the hearts for Nana, she did say, hey, it's a funny man. Should I play with him? And lastly, for the sake of the forms of Mrs. or just Miss Patinia, she did say by the forms of in the heart quote, if you scan the heart, she did say, a piping hot shower. Yeah, that's all she says. So, with that being said, I think we should probably end things off this point right here. So join me next time for more of Let's Play of Luigi's Mansion for the GameCube/Nintendo 3DS remake. Is that we're about to be continuing exploring through certain portions in Area 3. So I'll see you guys until on Monday. Later, fellas.